Hello, everybody. We are participating in a mission 148 organized by Space Analog Station at Mart, and we are having as a invited researcher Ilan. I introduce Ilan Elavarasan, and she's a aerospace engineer. Academically, she worked as a research assistant on human and space flight research at India Space Research Organization, ISRO. She's a visiting scholar at the Blue Marble Space Institute Science, working on various aspects of astrobiology. And she has won several awards and accolades on her dedication in the field of space exploration, and presents international participations in events. She's also training as an astronaut based in some Habitat Mars space analog missions. Okay, Ilan, you are very welcome to start your presentation, and good luck.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Professor. And hello, everyone, to all the participants. I'm Ilan, and I'm here in the mission 148 of Habitat Marti to share with you my journey in the field of analog astronautics. So that's why I chose this topic rightly, Earth to Space, the realm of analog astronautics. So by connecting these two words, Earth and space, that is the byproduct, which is the field of analog astronautics. And I'm going to share you my journey in this field of analog astronautics and how Habitat Mart helped me to excel in this field. So a little bit about me. I started my journey academically as an aerospace engineer, and I have experience in the space industry as a space educator from SDNX in India. And at the same time, I joined Blue Marble Space Institute of Science for the YSP, that is the Young Scientist Program. And currently, I'm a visiting scholar with the same institute. And through all this journey, I was very lucky to land as a research assistant in ISRO for the human space flight mission, and I'm also an incoming graduate student at the UTRGV. Um, so I thought of saying more about what is analog astronautics. So to start from the basics, everybody would have had a dream of becoming an astronaut. At least once in our childhood, we would have dreamt to become an astronaut. But the question is, what does it take to be an astronaut, and can we fulfill that? So basically, there are a lot of criteria which a person has to fulfill in order to become an astronaut. And these points, which you see on the screen, or some the NASA standard criteria for a person to become an astronaut, starting from being the country's citizen, possessing a master's degree in a STEM field, and having a related professional experience, plus having hours of pilot training, and being able to pass few tests related to flight astronauts. So can everyone fulfill these criteria? And if we don't adhere to this, can we really become an astronaut, or our dreams are just smashed? I would say no. Before going into analog astronautics, I would like to share with you some other options of harnessing this field. That is, one is citizen astronauts, and that comes under commercial astronaut training. That is, there are private companies which come forward to train civilian astronauts, like Space for Humanity, Blue Origin, and SpaceX, as mentioned here. So these few companies come forward to train people who are interested in becoming astronauts, and they launch with their private vehicles. So this is really possible, and in the past we could have seen a lot of news revolving around civilian astronauts going to space. So this is also really achievable, and basically the criteria would also be kind of similar to the NASA standard criteria of astronauts. So now we come to the very interesting terminology of analog missions. So we have heard this terminology many a times now. So what is exactly an analog mission? who can participate in it, and what exactly happens over there. So let me try to give you an idea of what is an analog mission. So it is just uh, a simulated experience where people come together and live off the experiences which we will be facing in the future, where we will be settling in the future, like moon or Mars or any other planets for that matter. So it's basically we will develop some research method and we will investigate that in the field, simulating these missions. And the area which we do this would be something very analogous to what we might face on other planets. And how can we do it being here on Earth? And that's where the very important point of Earth being an analog comes into action. I want to stress on this fact because this one planet can serve as analogous in particular areas for many other planetary surfaces. For example, there are arid environments on Earth, which is very similar to that we might face on Mars in the future. And there are a few places which are similar to Moon. So scientists choose these particular places and build an habitat in which people are put into, where they simulate missions, imagining what will happen in the future when we try to settle on other planets and moon for that matter. So who is an analog astronaut in this picture? A person who's basically training in these habitats and conducting these missions, taking part as part of a crew, are called as analog astronauts. And now you can have the question of, so I this term feels so interesting, so can I become an analog astronaut? It's pretty much easier comparative to the civilian astronauts and the standard NASA criteria of astronauts. And you can see the criteria over here. So even according to NASA, who can become an analog astronaut is any healthy non-smoking volunteers aged between 30 to 55, and few other analog habitats around the world have different age criteria as well. This is just according to NASA. And these subjects or the participants must pass a physical and a psychological assessment to qualify to take part in these missions. So here you go. You can see from this how it is simplified and it is easy. All you got to have is an interest to take part in these missions and expand your research to space exploration. And how can it be done? So this is what basically an analog mission entails. So it is a field test in that is located in any extreme space environments. So when we talk about other planets or space, we always talk about extreme environments, because none of the other places which humans are trying to settle down are not similar to Earth, like the atmosphere or the environment, right? So these mission habitats which we talk about here are specifically designed and built in extreme environments on Earth. For example, any faraway places from settlements, in high altitude places where there is no reach of common, like environments. So that's where analog habitats are basically built, and this is what we might face when we land on some other planets or moon and expect humans to stay on a longer term. So this is why analog habitats are built in very arid areas. And what kind of research can you do when you are taking part in an analog mission, and why are there any analog missions happening? So basically, NASA terms this in three different categories. First, geologic analogs. Any experiment that is similar to the geology of other planets can be tested in and around the habitats, that is analog habitats. And the second type is astrobiology analogs, finding life. So one of the prime focus of space exploration right now would be the very interesting field of finding life, that is astrobiology. So that would all definitely be a science goal when we try to settle or have a long-term sustenance on moon or on any other planet. So that is why astrobiology analogs are very important, and that is also one of the research which might happen in an analog habitat. And the third point is mission analogs. So any mission or any planetary surface which is very analogous would take part here, and astronauts would be specifically trained, and they will undergo a simulation so that they can train themselves when they're settling on other planets. So if you want to know more about this research and past research, or you want to connect with someone who's doing similar kind of research, the links are given below. And extending this to other things which we might face when we are having traveling in space, this is abbreviated into RICH. So these experiments are also conducted during an analog mission, are for space radiation. So any experiments relating to how space radiation affects human body in space or while settling on other planets is one of the potential research. Isolation and confinement. This is one of the main psychological issues where humans will face when we try to settle on other planets on a long term. So space is very vast, and when we are talking about habitats on other planets, the surface area which we are talking about is very narrow, and it's a very small cabin to put a lot of humans into. So eventually humans will face a lot of psychological issues. So that kind of experiments can also be tested in analog habitats, and any solution can be found so that it is implemented while we are trying to um, make real-time changes. And the third one is distance from Earth. Of course, this relates to the isolation and confinement as well. So as we go far from the home planet, it's not very easy to return to Earth often when we think about going beyond Mars and other planets, right? So this has to be eradicated in some way as well. So this can be put into experiments while simulating missions in analog environments. The next is gravity fields. So the gravity is not same which we will face while we are trying to settle on other planets and the moon. So any experiment relating to how gravity field might affect human physiology can also be conducted. And the last one is hostile and closed environments. How contamination happens in a habitat, what are the precautions one has to take while going out of the habitat and after coming inside of the habitat, and all those experiments are really important and necessary to be conducted right now, so that sorry so that we don't make any mistakes while we go and try and settle on other planets. So if we are going to start our journey right now, thinking of settling on other planets or the moon, the research or any experiments revolving around analog habitats is very important. So this is a brief view of what is an analog mission and who can become an analog astronaut and what exactly happens during a mission. So I guess you got an idea of that. So now I'm going to talk about one of the habitats, Mars analog habitats, which I'm part of from the year of 2020. That is Habitat Mars, which is located in Brazil. So it is Mars analog station, and it's located in Brazilian semi-arid region, which is very analogous to Mars. And here, in the past, research which including and revolving around Earth sustainability and that can be connected to space have been conducted. Habitat Mars stands out in one point, which I would like to stress here. This habitat conducts virtual missions like the one which we are taking part right now, and this started in the pandemic, and I would really like to stress the point that it has helped a lot of students to take part in online missions and to understand what is an analog mission and what exactly happens during a mission and how we can network with peers from around the world. So personally, I've met a lot of people online during the Habitat Mart analog missions who were from very different countries, and we got a lot of very different perspectives, and we extended our research beyond connecting virtually as well. So these are some of the missions which I took part, which is 58. This was my first mission, and several missions happened after that. That's what you're seeing over here. And as I told you, this doesn't stop over there. The connections which we make in this community is so wide and varied that we can leverage it to many other platforms. Like these are some of the seminars and webinars we conducted while we were doing the mission together. So as you can see, we the person who is in charge of Habitat Mother is Professor Julio. He conducts a lot of innovative approaches like having a watch party. So this is a inspiration for watch party which happened where we all can join together and watch. So things like this also happens, and it's very interesting for you. Um, So these are some of the research which I was part of when I was doing my research with Habitat Marty. That is, how can indigenous plants help while settling on long term on other planets, and how it also gives birth to sustainability. Yeah, and I was able to present my research in the conferences which you see on the screen. For example, the GLEX IAC 2021, and Habitat Mart also conducts yearly conference, online conference, which is Space Habitat event. Um, I presented my research over there as well. And this is just one analog habit which I am part of. And if you want to know about other analog habitats around the world, so these are some of the locations. And not only the habitats are revolving around Mars research, there are also moon research conducted around the globe. And you can get a lot of information about it on the internet. If you just type analog habitats around the world, you'll get the idea of it. Yeah, and I would like to share with you one another opportunity where you can um, collaborate with and meet a lot of analog astronauts is the world's biggest analog. So this is an initiative of a lot of analog astronauts and scientists coming together and conducting the world's biggest analog competition. It's a very inspirational and a really futuristic concept that is putting all your ideas together and having contribute to the field of analog. So if you're interested and if you want to participate in this in somehow, you can like just go to this link and get more information about it. And also, there is a yearly conference which is happening in the analog astronaut community, that is the Analog Astronaut Conference. And it was found by Dr. Cyan Proctor and Dr. Jasper Wall. Those are two amazing persons who I uh, got an opportunity to network with after I joined Analog Astronaut Community. They also have an Analog Astronaut Community, which has a group in Discord and Majestic Networks, I guess. And if you want more information about it, you can find the link on Google itself. So this is a picture of the Analog Astronaut Conference 2022, which happens yearly at Sam, Arizona. And yeah, Analog Astronaut Conference also provides scholarships to eligible candidates. And in the year of 2022, they offered me a scholarship as well, but I was not able to go because of my visa issues. And it doesn't stop over there. So if you want to take part in in-person mission, as we just saw the criteria of being an analog astronaut, if you want to take part in an in-person mission, you can always reach out to anyone who is in your country. And if you're not able to go like beyond your country, you can always collaborate with people online and talk about your research unless you can implement it in field, right? So one such opportunity which I was lucky to take part of was the India's first Earth and Space Exploration Program conducted by Amity University in collaboration with Cosmic Adventures. So it was started in the year of 2021, and I participated in the year of 2022. It was literally a year back, and I was part of the crew 3. And what exactly happens in this wonderful space exploration program is that as a crew, we are taken to many extreme environments such as what you see in these images. This is the Puga Hot Springs, which is located in Ladakh, India, which is a very high altitude arid desert, cold desert. And it's one of a very unique geographical locations in the world, and it's very analogous to Earth. Very analogous to Mars. And this is a picture of the Puga hot springs. So we'll be exposed to these kind of extreme environments, and we'll be able to observe the geological importance and also astrobiological importance of these places. So these are some other places. This is the Somoriri Lake. This is the Sokar Lake. And in the Sokar Lake, we were able to take some samples, geologic samples. As you can see over here, you can see some salt crystals. As the seasons change over there, as the temperatures change, and it is a high altitude salt lake as well. So you can see a very interesting geography and things going on over there. And this is the crew which I was part of. And in the background, you can see the Hanley Observatory, and it's one of the high altitude observatory in India. and you're taken to many other places as well. I'm not going to give away the surprise right now, but if you're interested in such kind of space exploration programs, you can always reach out to the right people. And here are some of the pictures of the crew members and me. Like I'm taking a drill, like they were doing a drilling sample from Soker Lake, and I'm just holding the sample over here. And this is me showing the samples of geological collection. And the device what I'm holding here is a TDS meter, and we were able to check the concentration of the water over here, and that's the meter which instrument which measures it. And so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not able to share that slide. So this is my journey with the analog astronaut community. And if you are one who find this interesting, and if you find that you might fit into this picture anywhere, definitely try to reach out to the right number of people, and you can always contact me as well. This is my contact. It's over here. I'm not able to show the other pictures. Some problem with the slides. But yeah, please do reach out to people. And as you can see, I was explaining you about, just give me- yeah, as you can see that when we talk about analog missions, we saw a lot of varied research happening over here. So even in this crew which I was part of, we met very interesting and very diverse kind of people. Like in my crew, there were scientists who were geologists, even artists, science artists, and geophysicists, etc. And the crew members were really ranging from non-science field to science field. So we tend to get a meet and network with a lot of varied people. And why does that happen is because this is what is the field of space exploration. And if we say that space exploration is what is the future, I would say that analog research would be the implementation of it. This is how space exploration and industry is. Everyone comes together and everyone has a place to share your ideas, and it is important as well. And as you can see, the research which is happening in analog mission, it just doesn't end with any scientific or geologic or astrobiological goals. Engineers are needed, computer science engineers are needed, mechanical engineers are needed, and so many other people. For example, science communicators are needed, astronomers are needed. So this is a field where everyone comes into the picture and everyone's work is valued. So all you have to do is all you have to have is an interest to collaborate with people and to have a greater vision. So this is what I'd like to leave you with. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any questions or if you want any resources, I'm very happy to share with you.
Okay, Ilan, congratulations. Also, if the participants have some questions, Shireya, Maria, Aman, Sibi Sankar, and Paulo, you are welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, it's good to mention that some of these experience sometimes can be provided as based in scholarships or based in low costs. In this case, as mentioned by Ilan in the beginning, something very important is the motivation of the participants to participate in these activities. I consider very accessible to many space enthusiasts in the world. Yes, and as you can see, there is many ways to be connected with space analog experience. Yes.
Mhm. I see some questions from on in the chat box.
Okay.
It's from Sib Sankar. Hi, Sib Sankar. Are there Venus analogs on Earth? I don't have that information with me. I am familiar with Mars and Moon analogs, but I'm not sure of Venus analogs. If astrobiological research on other planets is done after human settlement, would it not increase the possibility of contamination? Yes, it does. And this is a whole field of research called planetary protection. And if we are going to settle down on planets like Mars or beyond, and on Moon as well, there are a few norms which we must abide to. So only when we are abiding those norms, we are, it's good to settle on these places, and that's what's happening right now too. And you can read a lot about that in the Space Treaty by UNUSA and also planetary protection policies. So those are the things which cover it. And yeah, the plausibility of the contamination is higher when we settle on other planets, and we do have to take cautions. And this is where the analog research comes into picture as well. So I guess you got your answer. Thank you so much for the question. You're welcome.
Yes, it's a
Hey, Ilan.
Hi, Shreya.
Hi. This is a very beautiful journey of yours. Very
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shreya.
Can you tell me something about that link where the all astronauts and the space enthusiasts working together you showed in the presentation, right?
Yeah. Are you asking
Yeah.
about the world biggest analog?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share the link on the chat box.
Yeah, please.
Sure. Yeah, I've shared it on the chat box, Shreya.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. All the very best.
Thank you. Same to you as well.
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, Sibsanka, you are welcome.
Okay, if you
Hi.
don't mind, I have a couple of a few more questions related to the analog astronaut that you mentioned at the end, the
Sure.
Mars analog mission. Like in India, are there also scholarships available for students to take part in that program as of now?
Right now, India's analog things are going just as space exploration programs. So in the future, we'll be having analog habitats, but right now it's just space exploration programs, as you saw, in my presentation. So if you want a scholarship for that, you might reach out to the right kind of people for going as a RA or a TA. Right, if you qualify for that criteria, you can go as an
Means,
RA and
who are
TA.
those people?
And
Means which institution do you think I should reach out to?
right now, the ESCP program is not advertised, I guess. So in the future, it will come online. So you can reach out to people from Amity University Mumbai.
Right.
And you can also Google like ESEP 2022, and there are few contacts of some professors and scientists which might pop up. So in that, you can reach out to those people anytime, and you can talk about how if at all you have any scholarships which you can. But I'm not sure about it right now, because it happens as a like a private program, right? So if you are in
Right.
touch with some professors and if you have worked under them, you can go as an RA or a TA, and I guess that should suffice it for your journey. Apart from it, there are not much analog things happening in India, but there is a lunar analog habitat being established in the Ran of Kutch of Ahmedabad by AAKA Space Studio.
Right.
Asta Kacha. She's a space architecturist. So if you are interested in lunar analog, you can also reach out to AAKA Space Studio, and they will put like get in touch with you about lunar missions happening in India as well.
Does ISRO provide for collaborative opportunities like for microgravity facility experiments? I'm not sure. Is there any scope for private endeavors or non-profit endeavors to collaborate with ISRO? Like you mentioned, this world's biggest analog
Yeah.
organization or this competition. So, is there also scope for India as well to come up in future to collaborate as a analog site in future, or even does ISRO provide for the same?
Definitely, like segmenting your question, ISRO is opening up its borders for private collaboration. You should have heard about InSpace and ENSIL, and there's a lot of private partnership going on right now with ISRO and private space industries, and it's booming as well. They recently launched a satellite in collaboration with ISRO. I'm not getting the private industry name, the company name. Um, is it Bellatrix Aerospace?
Yeah, I think
Not
so.
sure.
They have launched around 3 to 4 since the
Oh,
last year.
yeah. So you get the picture. So they are opening up
Uh-huh.
for private things, but when you talk about analog habitats, or the astrobiology aspect of it, it is in a very young stage. Um, it has to grow a lot, and there are few missions which are heading to moon, like the Chandrayaan 3 just launched, and there is follow up for it as well. And there was the Mars Mangalyaan mission, etc. But they are also in the very starting initial stages, and all we are focusing right now is the technological part of it. So
Mm.
in the future, as you ask, there will be a lot of collaboration, but to establish an analog habitat, there is a lot of parties to play in, right? So it's just starting right now, and maybe in the coming years we could expect it, but not anytime very soon,
No,
because there's a
basically,
lot of
what I
other
was pointing
scopes.
out is that the bigger facilities, like the microgravity training facilities, or maybe underwater
Yeah,
facilities. So,
yeah. So
does ISRO
when you
also open up for the private partnerships on this part? As far as your thoughts are on this?
Yeah, so if at all ISRO is thinking about these, like it's not happening right now, but they are going to think about this, there should be a base for that. The base is human spaceflight research. And
Mhm.
where is India in human spaceflight research right now? Is
It
that
is
we are just doing our first mission right now, and
right.
it's you know the delay happening because we have a
Ah,
lot of technicalities going on right now, and there is
exactly.
too much of people coming in together, and there is a lot of collaboration going on. So only when we try to launch those astronauts from our own the indigenous mission, then ISRO will definitely try to expand its training. Right now, the astronauts are not trained in India. We know that we have
Mhm.
only very limited amount of training the astronauts. So
Mhm.
definitely, we need those infrastructure. We have the potential to develop it, but the need is not there right now. The immediate need is just to have a mission successful, and it is not successful right now. So when
Right.
it is successful, we will definitely open up a lot of infrastructure and build a lot of things, and it is growing as well. There is a lot of like plans going on,
Mhm.
thinking about it. So human spaceflight research will be booming a lot in the coming years in India.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I was able to answer.
Absolutely.
Yes, very good. Also, I'd like to share one slide here. Let us share. Okay, I'll share right now. Yes, this is the call for Space Habitat event. Ilan mentioned about. Also, we are open for applications to participate in the Space Habitat event. we had around more than 50 presentations during the last editions. This is the fourth year organizing the Space Habitat event, and normally our presentations are around 50 minutes, and also in the end we create a abstract book. And yes, and good to remember about Ilan. Also, I'd like to stop for now. And something interesting that Ilan mentioned is we are developing. I believe we meet each other virtually. I believe 2021, right, Ilan, or 2020, and now I not remember exactly, but it's interesting that how based in analog missions, how we can develop a long-term friendship. This is very interesting in terms of community. And during the IAC, International Astronautical Congress, that happened in Dubai, I had the opportunity to meet with Ilan. This is interesting how we can have meetings virtually and in person, and also becoming joining in terms of virtually and also in person during in-person activities. For example, Paulo here is also just visit us, our facilities in Brazil, and everybody are welcome. Also, I'm working with Cynthia here in terms of a program of volunteership. Okay. Yes, and something also to conclude some words. The operations of space analog missions or space analog stations, there is costs for the operations, because normally there is a crew, or there is sometimes there is employee giving support to the missions and to the operation of the station. And this is one of the challenges where in necessarily the stations need to have some funding for the operations of the stations. And these are one of the challenge for the space analog stations is identify possible funding, sometimes governmental, sometimes the contributions of the participants in the missions. And this is one of the main challenges in terms of the sustainability of the space analog missions. Yes, and we are open to questions also. Okay, I believe we don't have more questions. Ilan, congratulations for your presentation today. Thanks so much for your words and your ideas. Also, she raised writing maybe analog astronaut missions are possible in private organizations, but they also need collaborations, partners, as I am already selecting 3 analog astronaut training programs, 2 in US and 1 in Poland. Yes, as funding is very important to let viable the possibilities in the participations in the space analog missions. Yeah. Yes. Yes. More questions? Okay. No. Okay, in this case, thanks so much, everybody. Congratulations, Ilan, for your presentation. We are recording and after sharing in YouTube, okay?
Thank you, Professor. Sure.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Bye, Professor.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.
I'm concluding the recording.